Welcome to Isaac Rebirth. We're gonna tackle Challenge 3, and this is where we can start referring to these as challenges, because my goodness, this challenge is definitely something else. Yep, this is what we're dealing with. We have Soy Milk combined with Tiny Planet, which means that hitting enemies for the most part is going to be one arduous challenge, just because of the way your tears fire and everything. But at least you do have some items in order to help mitigate this inconvenience, and yeah, right now I'm just wondering if I should pick up Dead Cat or not. At this point I figure, why not? If I can somehow get my hands on Guppy, that will make my day. But we also have two other items in order to help us out with this challenge. One of them is the Small Rock. This is an item that we're not gonna unlock until a very long while, because you need to bomb 100 rocks for this to happen. And essentially all it does is it gives you a slight increase in damage, but you can get this out of blue rocks, so in a way this is a damage up that you can see appear in a bunch of different runs into the game. And the other one is the Iron Bar. It's a very slight boost to your damage, but it also makes enemies dazed and confused, so therefore you can remove a bunch of heat from yourself. Now welcome to the fun part of this challenge, the bosses. Dealing with bosses with this one loadout is a very interesting experience. But in the least, at least we do proc Iron Bar a whole lot because of Soy Milk, so it's very possible that a long period of the boss fight will be spent with the monsters just being confused and not entirely sure if they should attack you or not, but it's still going to be hard to hit them without getting hit yourself. And this is probably one of the worst bosses you can do with this one loadout, so yeah, good luck with that, because they're not very big targets, they do take a fair amount of damage, and the moment that they charge at you, they just leave this goop on the floor, which hurts you. So you have to take this one really cautiously. And yeah, we get some more damage, but nah, we're probably not going to see our damage meter go beyond 2 bars. Such is the power of Soy Milk. But hey, at least on the flip side, this challenge only makes you fight regular mom. Imagine if you had to also kill the mom's art in order to win this challenge. That would be something else. So one of the main methods of attack that you'll have to use with Tiny Planet and Soy Milk is to shoot backwards, because this is probably the most reliable way to hit enemies that are in front of you, because the tears will just arc somewhere behind your body instead of just outright going way behind your back the moment that you shoot them. If you shoot in the front, your tears pretty much start arcing backwards immediately, so it's pretty much a complete waste of time to try and shoot in front of you. But yeah, with this one loadout, almost every fight becomes a challenge, because you never really know how long it'll take for bosses to die. Even with the great rate of fire that we have, we never really know how any of these fights could end up going, mainly because our projectiles are so random and so unpredictable that it becomes impossible to do anything purposeful. At least we got the Joker card, which will allow us a free trip to the Devil Room, so maybe we'll get some item there that will help us into our journey. And yeah, I'm gonna save my Joker card just in case that I end up getting one into this one floor. Usually that's pretty much the way you should use your Joker card to begin with. Just wait until you see if you get a Devil Room to begin with, and then afterwards you use it. And don't ask me why I'm even going all the way to the other side of the level, because at this point I've seen all that there is to see in the one level. At this point I guess I'm hoping for a key to appear, but it's not really that useful in the end. Honestly, it's more a case of you probably should just book it and hope that everything will be alright. There's not a whole lot of items that will help you for this one run, apart maybe from like familiars and stuff like that, but right now what I need is keys, but so far I'm not really seeing any of that. but provided that you have some patience, eventually you can get into one place where you'll pelt the enemy with a shit ton of projectiles and alright, now here's the key that I wanted. But now we have a dilemma. One of these is a shop and the other one will be a library. Okay, I guess we found the library first. But hey, at least we'll get one item that may help us into our journey. How to jump! Yeah, we're now able to jump with this book. And let's just cross our fingers for a beggar kill, but unfortunately we did not get anything purposeful. Curse you, key beggar, you never give anything good. Now you see the big problem, however, with high-end tiers. Sometimes it makes enemies completely unpredictable. They're supposed to land on you, but because it was dazed and confused, it just decided to jump wherever it felt like jumping at. So therefore, it jumped on my head by accident because that was not the spot I was at all, but a spot where I was probably going to be. But yeah, for slow bosses like this one, the best course of action is to stand right behind them and just spam the fire button backward. Yeah, we have Brimstone here, which will allow us to shoot straight, but with Soy Milk, Brimstone is kind of a terrible item, so I probably should just skip on it. And besides, I've cheesed the last challenge already with Brimstone, and I don't feel like doing it a second time in a row. And hey, maybe one day we'll get to see one of those elusive angel rooms. I mean, they've talked about it a whole lot, but so far I've yet to see a single one of them. And the main reason why I haven't seen any angel rooms so far is that the moment that you take a devil deal, you're locked off angel rooms forever. So you have to skip on the devil deals, no matter how tempting they may be. But for the most part, the devil rooms have way better items, so it's kind of a lose-lose situation. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really good items in angel rooms, but the devil room as a whole will tend to kick its ass, because angel rooms can sometimes have really bad items. Alright, welcome to a room that I probably should bomb my way out. These are the Greedheads. They were introduced in Wrath of the Lamb, the expansion pack of the original Isaac, and are one of the worst enemies of the entire game. Basically, they roughly jump where you're about to be. Every single time they touch you, they drain your money. And by that, I mean you lose some coins that end up being on the floor, plus one coin that is lost forever. And finally, they're kinda hard to avoid, and finally, they have a lot of health. With our current loadout, they're almost impossible to kill without getting hit. In fact, I've lost a whole lot of money just because of that. And yeah, the further you'll advance in this challenge, the more long and difficult that rooms will become in overall, just because of how much health the enemies will have usually. Like these guys that probably are some of the worst offenders. I always thought that these guys had way too much health, and just to make matters even worse, they can split into the headless versions that just shoot blind Ipcat projectiles that will explode upon hitting the ground. Or these black sandworms or whatever. Inchworm, worm of whatever. Yep, that's your new name from now on. Now, this is probably a boss we're not gonna see for a long while, but these blobby things that spit spiders whenever they die, they're just called Teratoma. And yeah, the big ones are definitely really nasty, but they're like the boss in the womb, and this is like a boss that almost never appears into the regular game. Yeah, speaking of enemies that just take forever to die, I swear at this point the game is just giving me the worst rooms ever to work with. These are like the worst enemies. Well, you couldn't fight in the game at all because they're just boring as hell to fight. They're not really interesting. But with this loadout, nope, you can go to hell, game. I don't like it. Oh, come on, just rise up already. Okay, at last. At last but not least. So yeah, might as well try and get some millage out of our jumping abilities, but honestly, apart from getting to some really badly placed treasure chests every once in a while, this is not an item that have much purpose outside of doing a rare lucky dodge every once in a while. It's kind of unreliable because the range that you'll travel with your jump will depend on the momentum that you have upon doing the jump. And usually you'll have way better jumps if your character is really fast or if there's a lot of room for you to deal with. But other than that, it can be really nasty. And yes, now you can see how frustrating Soy Milk can be. There were so many of my tiers that came close to hitting the target, but they just narrowly missed, and therefore it was all for nothing. Yeah, honestly, in this challenge, you'll spend almost all of your time not even looking at your enemies, just because shooting backwards is the best ability. Yeah, when I was talking about momentum. Yep, that's how it doesn't work. But hey, at least we probably could squeeze this bomb out of the way, but we're gonna forget about the key, we're not in such dire need. Oh, and here's a new boss. This is a guy that you mainly meet in the catacomb. He's called Dark One, and yeah, right now he's kicking my ass. He's not particularly hard or anything, but every once in a while he'll catch you off guard with one of his projectiles, and it doesn't help that every once in a while he'll just make the entire room go dark, without any kind of warning. But yeah, his main attack is just to launch at you really fast, shoot a bunch of projectiles like that in a circle. They're usually pretty easy to dodge, and the last attack that he'll do is that if you stand right below him, he'll just try to do a brimstone laser at you. But that's only whenever you're standing below him. Other than that, he's never gonna use his brimstone laser, so it's kind of a non-issue, honestly. This is a boss that doesn't even have that much health, but right now our attack power just sucks so hard that we have no choice but to pretty much truck along with the slowest DPS ever. Yep, it would have been a sad day if I died to this boss, but alright, we got the magic mushroom. I will normally be thrilled to get this item because it usually gives you a huge boost of damage because, as you can see, it's got a damage multiplier of 1.5, but hey, Soy Milk. But at least we still get a boost in our health bar, so that's always a good thing. Honestly, I probably could have used my Joker card, I just completely forgot about it. And yeah, I might as well just stick with the paperclip. Just the ability to open gold chests for free is always very valuable. And here's the kind of situation where jump can be useful. And there, of course, you'll be saying, well, flight can already do that. And well, you're absolutely right. And here's the other kind of valuable that is very treasured into these runs, and it's the black cards. I'm gonna try to save them for as long as I can, but for rooms like this, it's just wonderful, because honestly, these rooms can be a huge pain in the ass. I mean, I could jump in order to mitigate some of it, but once again, it's so unpredictable that it's almost not worth using. And yeah, this is a room where I'm gonna have to use bombs, because just doing it with my tiers alone, it's never going to work out. Especially with the speed of these enemies and the fact that you have to also kill their corpse before they're truly dead, and finally their corpse run away from you because for some reason the game decided that all of the enemies should be fast. Now, one reason why you might want to destroy skulls is that every once in a while you can also get an item out of them, and I'm talking about a real item, not like a heart, a card, or anything like that. This is mainly why I just keep going, because usually this is what you get, the big treasure that awaits you. Oh my god, there's 6 flies, better bring in the heavy music. Even though I almost got hit, so I shouldn't even trash talk the enemy right now. Ah, now that was a pill that I should have kept, but honestly, will you ever feel like using a pill that you don't know about in the middle of a fight? I mean, for all that you know, it could be something like, are you a wizard? Which will just make all of your shooting overly impossible to predict because it just becomes entire diagonals, or it can just outright paralyze you, which will make you a sitting duck. So yeah, taking pills in fights is usually not a very good thing unless that you know exactly what they do, and yeah, right now this room is kicking my ass. What I was trying to do here was to push the enemies into the spikes, because you can do that with those enemies, considering that contact damage with them will not hurt you, but you still have to be careful. Also, I have no clue why I even undid the lock. I could have jumped there. And here's for another room that's probably going to be the end of me, because you don't really have any good place to stand in order to avoid the onslaught of flies. Gurdy is probably one of the best bosses you could have with this challenge, because honestly, your loadout here works pretty well against this guy. Or this gal, because I keep forgetting that Gurdy's a she. Right now, I'm not doing it very well, because there's a way that you can nail Gurdy with all of your tears. I'm gonna have it done eventually near the end of this fight, but yeah. If you stand close to Gurdy and face backwards and then shoot away from her, then you'll hit her with every single one of your tears, and therefore, she's actually going to die really quick. So here's to one of the only boss fights of this entire game that is easy to do with this loadout. Now, we have a pretty interesting Devil Deal room here, considering that there's at least 2 new items in here, and honestly I think all of them will be useful to me. Just gotta pick it up in the right order in order to get everything. Little Brimstone is a new special item! Yeah, this is one of the stronger familiars of the game, because this one shoots brimstone lasers at your enemies. And that's gonna be one of the main reasons why I'm going to be any competent for the next 2 floors. Now, I didn't use regular brimstone, but honestly in this one playthrough, this thing is way better, because it deals regular damage as opposed to the damage I would have dealt with regular brimstone, considering the shit damage that I have. And right now for these enemies, it's especially awesome, because I can go right through their mask. The other item that I picked up that costs 2 hearts, which is Spirit of the Night, is honestly not that awesome in comparison to what I've just landed, but it allows me to fly, and honestly, I think just flying is already a big upgrade for my character. You always want to have no obstacles in your way, more so considering that you can shoot everywhere that you want. But yeah, that will be a good time to use my Joker card, because once I'll be back to the challenge room, all of the enemies will be gone. And now we have a new enemy to fight! We unlocked this guy in the last update because we took a lot of devil deals, and every once in a while, when you get to the devil room, you'll have to fight it. So yeah, that's Krampus, and he's dead. And he has his own specific pool of items, and right now we can ditch out to jump in order to get this item. Head of Krampus previously was what was probably the best item of the entire game. As it is right now, it's just good, but hey, it's still a powerful item nonetheless. Yeah, this is what it does. It shoots lasers everywhere that'll murder every foe in existence. And the reason why this item used to be even more awesome is that back when the game first came out, this item had a 3-room cooldown period. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, this encounter is going to suck. 2 dark rooms, and okay, we only have half a heart left. And yeah, now this is where the brimstone laser can really fuck you up, because yeah, it can shoot them from off screen. So our strategy from this fight will be to camp the upper part of the room, because there we're not gonna be brimstone in the face out of a place that we cannot see. Other than that, we're just going to have to keep on trucking and shooting tears everywhere so that enemies will die. Now, I'm not in a big dire situation or anything, because I do have 9 extra lives, but keep in mind, if I die here, all of the boss health will be restored, so you do need to kill the boss with only 1 health bar, because otherwise you have to do everything again. And here we go, we managed to survive the ordeal. And yeah, I completely lost my time by going back in this room, but Hey, we have a brand new item. This is Squeezy. It increases your firing speed, and additionally, it also gives you 2 soul hearts. So, it's a good item. Oh, stupid tears. They're so unpredictable, but yet at the same time, you want to always keep them going just because it's good. But yeah, now this is one of those rooms where you realize you probably should have saved the head of Krampus for another time, because it honestly would have been much better to use it here instead of using it on the overweight bozos from the other room. Instead, we have to deal with spider generating creepy thing. Anyway, I'm just roaming around a little bit because there are still some parts of the level that I didn't visit, including the store, and now that I have money, it's time to see what we can buy for ourselves. With that said, however, you can see that my habit of shooting tears from backwards in order to make them bounce back toward the enemy kind of screws up with my using of little brimstone, but details, details. So yeah, in the shop I replaced the head of Krampus with the deck of cards. I figure at this point the deck of cards has more value and more chances to be useful than head of Krampus. At this point, it's pretty much just a bypass a room for free button. It will speed up the mom fight a whole lot, but I honestly don't believe that fighting Mom with this loadout is that tricky, considering that she's pretty much everywhere in the room. But hey, at least we have to see things on the bright side. These brimstone thingies will also hurt other enemies that are not themselves, so this way you can get some, well, I'm not gonna say infighting because the monsters never really fight each other unless you have like love tears or the pheromone pill, but hey, you can get them to damage themselves at the very least. Now, I suppose at this point I probably should just be on a mission and finish this level as fast as possible. We're not going to bother with pretty much anything, so let's just go and pelt everything with a million of small little tears. Yep, once again, here's Brimstone shooting completely the wrong way just because shooting toward the enemies with this loadout is completely not useful in the slightest, so every once in a while I just have to remember to reorient myself so that little Brimstone will shoot the enemy. Oh, I thought for a second that the bomb was gonna explode, that what I needed it to bomb, except that, once again, my tears shoot things in such an unpredictable way that it's impossible to pretty much predict anything. And yay, here's another world card. This is a secret room that I really love to see whenever I have a whole lot of bomb, because it's time to bomb mushrooms in the hopes that you get mushrooms. Yeah, out of these mushrooms, you can get also this mini mush, which makes you faster as well as increases your range. It's a great item in overall. And finally, sometime you can get the very elusive magic mushroom, which just gives a huge boost to your stats. Also, what the hell am I doing here? I don't have any business in being here to begin with. I figure that at this point I'm doing this room just because secretly I might enjoy doing this challenge in the end, because why else will I be doing that? Okay, or I guess I could do that just in the order to bomb a whole lot of people. At this point, Tears Down is not gonna do anything purposeful to me, just because, well, you know, my rate of fire is already so high that it's completely a moot point. And yeah, whenever you come from a secret room and there's a boss inside the room, it's still gonna seal the way back into the previous room, so there's no shortcuts for you to be taken. And our reward for going here is a whole lot of money that we're never ever going to be able to spend. Yeah, at this point I need to kill myself in order to get anything out of the Devil Beggar, and I honestly don't feel like doing it. More so considering that I'm not really worried about my fate right now. Or maybe I'm worried about my fate of what's gonna happen, considering that I just found a way to spend my money. Never... Okay, now I was double doomed. Not only did the slot machine blew up on its own, but before the slot that blew it open, it blew itself up with a troll bomb that was going to make it explode. Yep, it was going to... Yep, that's how it's gonna go. Oh, more opportunities for bidding. And yeah, I'm just going to spoil the issue to you right now. We're not gonna get anything purposeful out of him. At this point, I would like to get some extra health out of him, but it's unfortunately not going to happen. And it's kind of a shame too, because usually these guys are pretty good for getting free health items. Okay, or free health item that you sometimes cannot get even though you spend something like $16 out of them. So, yep. I want my money back, or at least I'm gonna get those 3 cents back. Thank you very much. That was really smooth here. Good job. Well, good thing that I have an extra heart, because, well, I'm still gonna have to do the mom fight without getting hit, because most of mom's attack will deal a full heart of damage to you. And yeah, that was a smooth bomb, by the way. Now, the big issue with this fight is the minion that moms will spawn, because, as you can tell, our tiers will be able to cover pretty much the entire room, so attacking mom herself is not really hard in this one fight. It's just everything else that she'll throw at you, and this is what is going to worry me the most. Well, that and her Bigfoot. With that said, however, you can get a bunch of really good hits out of the Bigfoot if you manage to put yourself in a good position, and if you have some main to freeze mom, but I doubt you're going to get one in this one challenge, considering that most of the items that will do that are treasure rooms item. And of course, you're not gonna see treasure room item in Toadie's challenges most of the time. And yeah, that fight went pretty swimmingly. All in all, mom is not very hard. And we get this rune as a reward, which is kinda meh. Not the worst one, but honestly, there's so much thing that I'd rather have. So, we're done with this challenge, and it's time to show what we're gonna do for the upcoming next updates of this Let's Play. In order to try and fasten the recording of the playthroughs, I decided to run this poll in order to let people decide on which characters they'd want to see first. So therefore, the next playthroughs that we'll do will be of these characters in the orders that they've got the votes. So the order for characters that we'll play will be Eve, Eden, Judas, Cain, and finally Maggie, which is in last place. But it's kind of a moot point anyway, because one of the upcoming challenges will involve playing as her anyway, so at this point I figure she deserves being last regardless. But still, she only got 6% of the vote though. That's kinda sad. I mean, Isaac is going to be really sad whenever he won't be able to wear his Maggie wig, because apparently it's just Isaac who poses as all of the characters in his own imagination or something. And yeah, after every major playthrough, there'll always be a challenge lying in between, so since Challenge 4 has not unlocked yet, the next challenge that we're going to do will be Challenge 5, the Tank, where we're gonna play as Maggie, so hey, she's going to be really soon regardless. But right now, in the next video, we're gonna play as Eve.